Hi everybody, it's Christopher and welcome to Life's Not Over, It Just Looks Different on YouTube. In today's video, I want to talk about the mental health side of sudden sight loss. Now I did touch on this in an earlier video when I talked about the need to advocate for people who lose their sight as a result of brain injury, but I want to go a little deeper into this because it is really an important piece for everybody to know, including the person who loses their sight, but also for those around them, their caregivers, their friends and family, and their medical professionals in their life. The mental health side of sudden sight loss is just as critical as trying to help them move forward with that vision loss. Yes, a referral to CNIB here in Canada or to other eye care professionals who might be able to help, those are important. And the person is going to need to gain those skills like orientational mobility, independent living skills, and maybe some access to assistive technology that's going to help them with these things in their lives. But in parallel with that, not before it, not after it necessarily, but in parallel with all of that learning, the person needs help with the mental health aspect of the sight loss. They have to grieve the person that they used to be. They have to grieve that they can no longer do things quite the way they did before. I'll be very honest with you, in 2005 and 2006, probably into 2008, for that first 2 or 3 years when I was dealing with my sight loss, I was getting all of that help. I was getting help from CNIB. I was getting help with navigating and orientational mobility. I was getting help with independent living skills around the apartment. I was getting assistance with technology. The one thing that was not referred to me at any point was help from a counselor, a social worker, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, anybody. Nobody ever mentioned it. And it's hugely important because in those first few years, I went through all 5 stages of grief. I went through the denial, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, and the acceptance. I did them all, and not in order. I did them, some days I'd be having a great day, and other days I'd be down into the depths of disparity and just not sure what to do with myself and questioning whether or not I had a future. So I've been there. I did all of this. And now the one thing that I'm going to say that did work in my favor is that I did happen to be working with a psychiatrist just prior to my sight loss. And in fact, the day I went in for the surgery that ultimately went wrong, I was actually supposed to have an appointment with him because I was already working with him to deal with issues surrounding the loss of my father. I was struggling with that. And so he was already in place and part of my life. So I was lucky because all I had to do when I got out of the hospital was give his office a call, and I literally said to the receptionist in his office, I got a whole new kettle of fish to talk about. And she booked me in the very next day. So I was lucky because these referrals sometimes can take months. So it's really important for medical professionals, be it a family doctor, a surgeon, a therapist in a hospital, whomever it is, if you have a patient who experiences sudden sight loss, they need emotional help. So this is just something that I've learned, and now I advocate for anytime that I meet with medical professionals or anybody that I meet who works in the healthcare system, telling them how vital this is and how important of a role they play in helping the patient get that help. Like I said, I was really lucky. I had that doctor in place. I saw him the day after I got out of the hospital, and he was super helpful. Did it mean that I didn't still go through those stages? Oh, heck no. I went through them all because I needed to. It was a grieving process that I was no longer able to drive. I had to change careers. I had to make all these changes in my life, and I needed not only to come to terms with that, but I needed the emotional support and help to be able to get past that and move forward with it. it was all about being able to talk it out. I realized that some people may need access to medications through a psychiatrist or something like that, but really the biggest part of it is the need to be able to talk about it, the need to be able to process it verbally with somebody who's completely neutral and really, you know, can't fix it, can't make it better, but they can let the person talk about it to get it out of their system so that they can move forward with this and be able to carry on with life. I've said many times now as I look back, you know, because this all happened 15 years ago now, and I look back on that time, and if that doctor hadn't been in place for me in those early days, I think my story would have been very different, to be very honest with you. I was in depths of despair, sometimes super, really deep, so bad. And it wasn't until many years later that this was revealed to me. But my spouse at the time, she, a number of years after my sight loss and after I was, you know, living pretty normal life, even with the sight loss, she and I were having a conversation. She actually said to me that there were times in those early days when she thought that I was not going to be there when she got home, or that she would find me dead. So it was really bad at times. This is why it's really important that if a person suffers a sudden loss, and it doesn't even have to be sight loss, if it's hearing loss or a leg or an arm or whatever it is, physiotherapy and physical therapy or any kind of strategies to help the person regain, you know, whatever it was that they've lost, those are important. But the emotional aspect is also critical. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I just wanted to share that because I recently read about somebody who had suffered sudden sight loss, similar to my own, and it just kind of brought it to life for me about how important this is, and I wanted to share that in this video today. So I do thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who do watch these videos. If you like what you see and you like the other videos, please click subscribe so that you can tune in more. And also, if you like this video, I'd love it if you hit like down below and yet let YouTube know that you like the video as well. I want to thank you very much for watching today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.